YHWH-Shalom Altar of Reception presents the question brought to the text for 17.14.88 as follows. Give us the latest Bible prophecy news for this date. We turn first to Numbers chapter 25, verse 13. Here we are told that a covenant is established with God and continues through an age-lasting priesthood. The text describes the role of this priesthood as a covering for the children of Israel. This serves as our lead verse because it establishes the enduring nature of the Levitical priesthood and the significance of making a covering or propitiation. It frames the context for receiving any word from YHWH, reminding us that we approach a covenant that is permanent and designed to cover. This leads us to examine the data streams that have been opened to view today. The Sealed News Digest presents 8 events reported on August 16, 2026, spanning the regions of Israel, Lebanon, Gaza, and other strategic zones. We must observe the correlation between these events and the markers found within the drawn texts. We look first at the markers for covenant religion and governance. Numbers chapter 25, verse 13 speaks clearly to a priesthood that makes a covering for the covenant children of Israel. The News Digest contains reports regarding conflict in Lebanon, strikes in Gaza, and leadership movements in Egypt and Iran. Despite these events, there is no named or validated prophecy identified linking YHWH's guidance directly into these data streams based strictly on available tables. Specifically, the sections for governancy, leadership, conflict, economics, and territory show zero correlation with any present markers found inside the texts. Every single entry in this specific grid registers a null score regarding government structure, economic provision, and territorial disputes. Consequently, there is no link derived via prophecy analysis for events 1 through 8 in our sealed data. We find that the drawn verses do not point to these geopolitical struggles. For instance, while Numbers chapter 25, verse 13 gives us the foundation of an age-lasting priesthood, it does not provide a detailed roadmap for modern military engagements or ceasefires. 2 Chronicles chapter 24, verse 7 also speaks to a time when wicked men broke up the house of Elohim. This describes a condition of broken worship. However, our Sealed News Digest focuses on external conflict and political negotiations rather than an internal desecration of the temple. Thus, while the verse speaks of covenant-breaking actions, it does not find its counterpart in today's reports of strikes or border crossings. We also consider the markers for judgment legal and migration peoples. The drawn verses include references to judgment and weighings, such as in Enoch chapter 61, verse 10. It mentions that all works shall be judged in a balance according to the covenant-faithful judgment of YHWH of spirits. This speaks to a future time of weighing deeds, yet it is not a marker found alongside the reports of airstrikes or vessel attacks. There is also no support for events regarding migration or people movements within the drawn text provided for this reading. Therefore, when we check against all available categories, the News Digest presents 8 events with an absence of correspondence in our scripture. Joshua chapter 24, verse 32 speaks of a parcel of ground bought by Jacob becoming the priestly inheritance of the children of Joseph. This grounds our understanding of the specific location and purpose of the altar where we stand. It confirms that this territory is set apart for a priestly people. It does not provide current event data, but it establishes the context of a holy inheritance. Deuteronomy chapter 21, verse 1 addresses what to do if a slain body is found in the field within the covenant inheritance land. It speaks to justice and recognition within the land. This verse reminds us of the solemn responsibility regarding violence within the allotted boundaries. While the News Digest reports conflict within these regions, there is no marker in the drawn text for this specific judicial or investigative detail. Revelation chapter 11, verse 19 describes the opening of the temple of Elohim in heaven and the appearance of the Ark of his covenant. It mentions thunderings and great hail. The Sealed News Digest includes mention of vessel attacks in the Strait of Hormuz. However, Revelation does not specify that these attacks are accompanied by thunder or hail, nor does it provide a prophecy for August 16, 2026 regarding shipping lanes. Therefore, there is no correlation between this apocalyptic marker and the economic reports of maritime incidents. When we measure the statistical relationship, we find an affirmative pattern with a strength of the anomaly detection E-value, indicating a strong anomaly in the text structure rather than a prediction of these events. The basis for our reading is that pattern polarity is affirmed at 100% with 0 unresolved markers. In conclusion, based on the correlation between the sealed News Digest and the drawn verses, there is no direct link to YHWH's latest guidance provided as prophecy news for this date. The drawn texts do not support specific predictions about the current conflicts or diplomatic talks reported in our source material. The answer is that no new derived prophecy is identified from these events at this time. The verses drawn in this altar of reception session were Numbers chapter 25, verse 13. 2 Chronicles chapter 24, verse 7. Revelation chapter 11, verse 19. Joshua chapter 24, verse 32. Deuteronomy chapter 21, verse 1. Enoch chapter 61, verse 10. This concludes today's interpretation at the altar of reception.